About 2 months ago, I made a video titled "A Sneaky Trick Most FPS Games Use," in which I talk about how your gun, aka the view model you see in first-person perspective, is rendered on a separate layer so that it doesn't look like it's clipping whenever you get close to walls. That video kinda blew up, and with it came a lot of interesting comments mentioning things which I didn't have time to address in the original video. Today, I want to acknowledge those comments and go a little more in-depth into some of the intricacies of this so-called sneaky FPS trick and why things are the way that they are. One comment I get very frequently is that some games like Escape from Tarkov, PUBG, and Doom have the player move the gun out of the way when up against the wall instead of rendering on a separate layer. And this is definitely a viable alternative. In PUBG, the view model appears to be based purely on detecting collisions with the environment with no rendering on separate layers. I even managed to get the gun to just barely clip into the barrel in this example here, which wouldn't happen if it was on a separate layer. Another comment I get is that in games like TF2, the view model is simply given a higher render priority so that it always renders in front of everything else without the need for rendering layers. Some call it ignoring Z-depth or whatever it's called. This is another valid way to achieve this effect, and it makes matching the lighting on the view model with the rest of the world super easy. However, this still leaves one problem. In this example, watch what happens to the gun when I change the field of view of the first-person camera. You'll see that the gun warps, especially at very high FOVs. Then compare that to a game like Apex Legends. Here are two screenshots of the same scene at 70 FOV and at 100 FOV. Clearly, you're getting a wider view at 100 FOV than at 70, but if you only look at the view models, you can see that the gun looks exactly the same in both, no warping whatsoever. That's because while the FOV of the world changes, the FOV of the view model stays fixed. To do this, you need two cameras, one that only sees the environment and one that only sees the view model. That way you can adjust the FOV of one camera without affecting the FOV of the other, and then you can just stitch the two images together with the view model on a higher layer to get a composite. You cannot do this with just a single camera since changing the FOV would alter the appearance of both the environment and the gun at the same time. Going back to TF2, if the game were truly using only one camera with no render layers instead of a separate view model camera superimposed on top, then how is it possible that you can change the FOV of the view model separately from the rest of the world? And I don't mean this to be like a gotcha, I'm genuinely curious, so let me know in the comments if you got any info about it. Either way, having two cameras is very useful, and it helps view models stay looking consistent, especially in games that change FOV often. One question that I get asked a lot is, does this mean I can shoot through walls since the gun is technically still clipping through them? And the answer to that is no. When you shoot your weapon, while it may look like there's a bullet coming out of the barrel of the gun, in most FPS games the bullet is actually coming out from between your eyes. You might already know about this if you've watched some of Shonik's videos. So long as your eyes aren't clipping through the wall, you won't be able to shoot through it. The gun in your hand is purely cosmetic and it doesn't operate like a real gun at all. To close things off, I wanted to talk about my decision to call the separate rendering layer a separate universe. No, the view model does not actually exist in a separate universe. I just decided to spice things up a bit so that people would comment on it and boost the engagement on the video. And judging by the way the video is performed, I think it might have helped a little bit, so I apologize for nothing. Anyways, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, bell, links to my Twitter and Discord down below, and as always, have a nice day.